Hi, I'm Jamie from Brand New Copy, and in this video I want to talk about why the best copywriters don't write from scratch and what they do instead. Now, most copywriters think that speed comes from writing faster. Now, writing from scratch might feel creative, yet it often leads to inconsistent messaging and a lot of rewrites at the end of a project or once a piece of work has been submitted to the client as a first draft. The best copywriters rarely start with a blank page. They start with a plan, a framework, and a solid brief. Now, there's this myth surrounding the idea of writing from scratch, and it's like a romantic notion that starting with a blank page is somehow more creative. And I mean, it can be if you're working on something that's inherently creative, like a novel or a piece of fiction, for example, where the brain to fingers to keyboard to screen process will serve you well. But when it comes to copywriting, more often than not, starting from scratch ends up being inefficient. But if you're starting afresh every time you have a new deliverable to work on or a new project, it ultimately leads to inconsistencies. It's quite time inefficient and it results in less effective copywriting with results that don't always meet client expectations. Now, especially in high pressure writing environments where you're working with big clients, having a plan is far more rewarding than just simply feeling inspired and writing what comes into your head in the moment. Okay, so what do experienced copywriters actually reuse when it comes to planning and frameworks? Well, what they're not doing is they're not simply taking paragraphs from things they've written in the past or stealing turns of phrase from other writers or other publications or plagiarizing the work of someone else. But what they're doing is they're reusing the logic that they are using to make decisions. They have proven page structures, they have a plan for the messaging hierarchy, and all this sort of framework is in place before they even start on the words themselves. Now, another thing that experienced writers have is they have a set of questions that they would use to determine what the client needs and what the purpose of the project is. So essentially, they have questions that they know will lead to a solid brief. Now, frameworks protect the quality of a piece of writing under pressure. It enables a writer to start quickly without having to feel like they have rushed the thinking behind the copy that they're working on, because they have already taken the time to invest in the strategy from the outset. Now, this essentially means that there are fewer structural edits required at the end. I mean, that there may be edits required to tone of voice or to grammar points or to typos, but the actual structure of the copy will be solid from the start. And this essentially means that the energy that you're spending writing is placed where it matters, in a place where it's going to have the most commercial impact and lead to the best outcomes and the best results for the client. Okay, so why do frameworks matter more for websites than arguably other types of copywriting deliverables? Well, websites are asking the reader to orient themselves and to assess the copy in front of them and then make a decision based on what they've read in a way that they aren't being asked to on social media or when reading a thought leadership article, for example. On a website, all the pages need to work together rather than competing against each other. So it needs to feel like a cohesive experience that has been written as part of a system. And there's nothing that erodes a reader's trust quicker than poor structure. I mean, weak writing will put people off, but if a message hasn't been delivered in a convincing way, then people are going to hit the back button. So what should you do instead of writing from scratch? Well, the best copywriters have defined frameworks that guide their decisions before they put fingers to keyboards. They also have a set of predefined questions that they can send to clients to help them develop a solid brief, which then leads to structure, which then leads to the words that end up on the page. So essentially they have systems that support judgment but doesn't replace the thinking behind it. Now, this is exactly what the website copywriting framework from Brand New Copy does. It's a series of modules that explains the process and the approach behind writing specific types of website pages. And it covers templates, it covers client briefs, it includes psychological cues, and also has AI prompts for people who prefer to use ChatGPT for ideation. Now, if this sounds of interest, then I've included a link to the framework in the description. Otherwise, I hope you found this video useful. If you have, be sure to hit the like button and to subscribe, and I will see you soon.